council in my county, in New York, Nassau County. And I guess I'm a community activist. I'm a community, I don't like to say activist, community humanitarian. I'm a humanitarian, period.
Yeah. Can you live them?
So you ready? Domestic violence, can't live in silence. Heart all broken, neck is choking, words outspoken. Tears keep crying, mouths keep lying, truths are denying, no man relying. Can't understand, beaten by a man, women do it too, both sides, it's true. Violence is an act, negatively driven, a conduct and an act that was taught and not given. Because being exposed as a people who chose to live a life of crime with a messed up mind. Immolating their abuser because that's all they've seen. History repeats itself like a relived dream. No compassion, black eye fashion, make a face to cover a scar or trace of abuse. That should not be tolerated. If you hurt, I hurt. We all should hate it. Don't be blind and turn your other cheek. If you know they're being abused, open up your mouth and speak. Let every man be free. Abuse has no use if you want peace to be in our community. It starts at home. They're not alone. We feel what you feel, like cast the first stone. Infidelity, molestation. Protect our children from any damnation. Show them respect. Let's teach and check and spread the truth to our nation. Domestic violence, don't live in silence. Abuse speaks volumes and it's loud and clear. There's help for the abused and the abuser. There's programs out there. Spiritual care, comfort care, reliable support. Yeah, some of these cases might wind up in court, but some don't have to go that far. If you don't leave a scar, nip it in the bud. Find the right resources, and all the not-for-profit organizations need to join forces. Yeah. They should exist to assist, to make our nation great. No one wants to live in a messed up state. Domestic violence, pain sometimes in silence, with memories of unforgettable and most of time regrettable. Unintentional or not, this violence has to stop. What does it have to take for the message to be received? Do we have to bury our victims for abuse to be believed? Come on, humanity, let's start healing. Keep an eye out on domestic violence and stop the abuse and the killing. We revisit these thoughts once a year. We take the time to remember those who did not survive from the domestic violence crime. Men and women die at the hands of their abuser. Sometimes others that's around when confronting the accuser. It's just not fair, but it's the decree. Please take care of yourselves. Be mindful and watch out for the abuse in your family. Domestic violence, let's end the silence.
Woo!
Thank you. Now, do we have anyone that wants to share some?
We have
Latasha here. Don't tell me some woman was beating up on you.
I'm writing it now. Because I support this.
Okay, let him give him a second.
Can she go first?
Yeah.
Ladies first.
All the time.
So Miss Latasha, right? From Cheryl's Voice.
Yes.
I am Cheryl's Voice. You're welcome.
I think I have to go out with that. I should have went before you. Thank y'all so much for having me. I am a native here to Fort Worth, Texas. And I remember when I got the request to come, and I said, they know I'm a Christian, right? He said, yes, ma'am. I said, you know what? That tells me right there that no matter what religion or race we are, domestic violence affects everybody.
Yep.
And we have to band together.
Yep.
No matter what.
Domestic violence don't care what
From
religion
Fort
you
Worth,
are.
Texas.
Yeah.
I unfortunately witnessed my father kill my mother and then kill himself and left me for dead in an alley in the back of a car.
Wow.
It wasn't until the next day when some children was skipping through that alley and saw me sitting there, and they went and got help.
Wow.
I was immediately orphaned, and I was immediately taken to my grandparents who raised me. That is something that I really didn't understand what was happening to me. I suffered nightmares. I suffered wanting to commit suicide. I blamed myself for the murder of my mother. I was 18 months old. That tells me that the enemy was trying to take me out because he knew God was going to have things to do with me.
Right.
For the longest time, I avoided talking about my mom, talking about the loss, talking about the health issues I suffered, talking about wanting to commit suicide every day. It wasn't until I got to college and I had someone ask me, Natasha, you seem very passionate about some things. Have you started digging into that? So I did a full investigation, like I worked for the CIA guys. And I said, I went downtown and I asked, I want every single record that has my mother's name on it. And when I did that, I discovered that my mom was a hero. She did everything she possibly could to get help from law enforcement, to get away from my father, and he was determined to take her life. But at the end, she was able to still protect me. And so that is why Cheryl's voice, because my mother's name was Cheryl, exists. To only show kids that you can turn your trauma into God's victory. That you can do something with your pain through Christ, counseling, and coffee. That's my 3 C's. Are the ways that I was able to get up every morning and say, you know what, I got to deal with this trauma that's in me. We all have trauma that we have to deal with. Children who witness abuse, no matter how old they are affected. If you were pregnant with a child and you were in an abusive relationship, your child was affected. Play therapy is important. In our community of color, we don't talk enough about counseling. We don't talk enough about trauma at all. What goes around our house stays in our house is what we say. But we really need to use those resources. We really need to use the organizations that are around us and take advantage of the therapy that's out there. I've been in therapy since college. It took me a long time to realize that I was struggling with some things. And now I still actively go to therapy. That's my self-care. That's my love for myself, is going to therapy and dealing with the pain and the hurt and recognizing that what my father did is not something that I can that I have to allow to taint my life. I made a choice to turn my trauma into victory. I made a choice to say no more, it stops with me. I made a choice to start sharing my mother's story because I feel that that is the purpose I have on my life. I not only do that, talking to victims and encouraging children to get help, but I also work for criminal courts. Why? Because that's where God placed me. And I work with the domestic violence abusers, holding them accountable for what they've done. Now that is really hard work, but I understand the purpose of it. That is something that we all as a community have to join together and say no more. When we see something, stop saying it's not your business, because it is. Because when you have these active shootings, more than likely, if you look at that person's history, they've either witnessed abuse or they've been an abuser. So it's impacting us. Whether it's not directly, it's still going to impact you some way. So again, I thank you guys for letting me come out and share my story. I'm very passionate about what I do, if you can't tell. But, you know, I miss my mom. I wish I didn't have to be an advocate for domestic violence awareness. I probably would still support the cause, but I wish I didn't have a personal connection, if that makes sense. I would give anything to have my mother. people, I would do that in a heartbeat because it's important, guys. It's so important. This place, this whole park should be packed full of people wanting to know about domestic violence. But the reason why it's not, because people think it's an issue that doesn't affect them.
Because they don't even understand they're in a domestic,
They don't understand
right?
what they're ashamed about what they're dealing with. And so I want to continue to support you guys. I support the cause, and anything that we can do to continue supporting each other as sisters and brothers, we need to do that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Woo! Thank you.
I would tell my story. I have a story from when I was a child. That's in my book, and I can't tell what it was. But, yeah, I've been a victim more than once. More than once. More than once. And you have to ask yourself, why? Why do we keep falling and going back into the same thing over and over? What could you do?
It's not why you keep going back. It's more like why do they abuse to begin with? Because that's the thing. We gotta stop blaming the victim. It's not your fault that you went into a situation. It's not your fault.
I actually read that today. It's like, why is people asking why did they stay when they should be asking
why is he abusing?
why?
Yeah. So someone asked me, well, have you ever thought about why did you keep going back? Were you abused as a child, or was it love?
And
like what makes you keep going back?
Going back or staying is really why.
Like, why don't we ask the question, right? Why he couldn't keep his hands to himself?
Why you hurting me? And you know, when you invest your heart and everything in something, you don't just walk away. That's very hard to just walk away from something that you have invested in. You know, God, I would say, I always cried out, God, you yourself have to move me. You got to move me. Show me a sign. Give me something. You know, but encouragement and inspiration can help you move. But it's got to come, that's it, within. Within. Inside you got to say, okay, I'm not taking this no more. And stand firm on that. You got to stand firm on that when you make a decision to leave. Go. And get help, because you're not in this by yourself. We have to help each other and stand with each other to get you to not fall victim anymore. Get better, grow, heal. What's the brother's name?
Brother Khalid, you ready?
Yeah. Khalid and Brother
Brother
Khalid.
Khalid, come and share.
Thank you for letting me share. Kind of. I just write it here. Thank you very much.
Hold the mic up.
Given me this opportunity, and I think this problem, I spoke like last week with people in a prison believer, and I was having a dialogue. I said, instead of you convince me what's right and what's wrong, let's put your hand with my hand, and let's take care of our brother and sister who are homeless, who are hungry, who has suffered in the whole world, even next to you in the church. You look over and outside and you forget people next to your church. Let's, if you really believe in God, God wants
Here, can you?
people and His word filled with love, filled with peace. People who run to this problem sometimes didn't have no hand to open for their problem. Then some of us can go over it, some of us cannot handle it. So they run to the bad people. So thank you very much. I said, no violence, no violence. Only peace, what we need. Allah, Allah, name himself peace. Look at the nature of beauty. We have joy, high, the peace and love everything. Happy and grow faster in the peace. Every creation in the life, they live the way Allah created him in peace. Only us as a human being who make the mess in this world. Our harmony and beauty should be spread in this earth. I really love peace. Please love yourself and others. Violence is ugly. Violence is ugly. The color and the smell even bad. Let's say with open mouth, no more violence, and spread compassion and love. Before the crisis happened, and we should forgive and open our hand for peace and see no more violence, so we can live in peace. Thank you.
Awesome.
Did I say something? Sorry?
No, you did great.
You did great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bakui, would you like to say something?
What you say about that?
You got the shirt on that says you are
Thank you for
protecting.
inviting
You
me
a
to do
husband, a daddy, protecting, and a hero. So let us know what you know.
What are we on? Like Facebook or something?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We're Facebook Live. Well, greetings, everyone. My name is Bakri Sabor. I'm the founder and administrator of Huma Faith. Anyway, that's enough of that. We do transitional housing for the homeless and have been doing that since 2010. 2010, we've been doing community and transitional housing for the homeless. And the reason why Human Faith would want to sponsor such an event like this is because domestic violence is the 5th leading cause of homelessness in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And so it's just befitting for us to acknowledge that, knowing that, you know, we'll have our fair share of having to deal with that when we are housing people. The only thing I guess I want to say about domestic violence, especially from a male's perspective, and the way I understand it is that domestic violence is a situation where one person wants to overpower and have control of another person. At the end of the day, that's kind of how I see it. It's all about control. Regardless of how a person is rationalizing that, or why they need to exercise control. You want somebody to do something a certain way, there's some people out there who want to exercise control over that person by being abusive to them in order to get what it is that they want out of them. That's oppression. And there's no call for that. And I know this happens to both male and females, but we find the data is showing that more females or women are affected by domestic abuse and domestic violence. So I just want to drop something to the men right quick. There's absolutely no reason to have this power and control or exercise control over women by being violent. That is absolutely unnecessary. You know, whatever a woman chooses to do, there's a career path she wants to go, why not? There's a certain way she wants to dress, why not? And if for some reason you don't like it, why are you sticking around? You don't have to hurt anybody. It's just totally unnecessary. You know, so that's kind of my 2 cents, is that we don't need to exercise power and control over people. And people are free and entitled to be who they are. And we are not their creator to try to create them and turn them into something that God has created them other than that to be. It's just totally unnecessary. And that's my 2 cents, and that's it. And I'm out of here. Thank you.
Thank you, Chaplain.
Oh, I forgot about that part.
Yes. He's a chaplain. Sister Collins is a chaplain, and I'm a chaplain, Chaplain Jamila. And we're with United States, New York State Chaplain Task Force. Plug out Reverend Miranda. Alhamdulillah, yes. Who else is sponsoring? Who's the sponsor?
United
We got
Hands.
United Hands in the building with the hand sanitizers. They packed up some treats for the kids, some breakfast.
Jebel Al-Noor.
And Jabal Noor has the snacks for the kids. And we got St. Jude's Laboratory. Would you like to say something? We had counseling here for anyone that needed counseling for, United Hands, come on up here, Jamila. Come on. United Hands Relief and Development, serving our community. She's on her way. She got something to say. Yes.
Good afternoon, everybody. Domestic violence is definitely something that, domestic violence is definitely something that United Hands Relief and Development wants to focus on. Like Brother Bakri was saying, it is one of the major reasons that we have people that are facing homelessness, right? So our organization is here to support other organizations and the victims of domestic violence when people are trying to reestablish their lives and get back on track with resources and things like that. And sometimes having physical resources can help somebody to, just get their grounds back to, maintaining stability, especially when it comes to kids. So we've had clients that have came in and they've had to flee their homes, leave where they were at, and just start all over. And sometimes that's with nothing. And if you can get a child and a family back to a bed and blankets and a dining room table, then they can focus on getting back to the normalcy in their lives. So we're here to support the community in that way.
Thank you, United Hands, Jamila. Okay, we will now get back to the food. Bakui is frying up some chicken, some zippy halal chicken.
Tell them to come on down if you're watching.
And if you're in the area, we're at Trinity Park, Fort Worth. Please come down.
Pavilion
We got a
1.
lot of food here. There's a bouncy house for the kids. It's really nice. And there's the runner back there. The runner, that's fun too. So come on down.